Now, a bit of a warning that some of the themes I'm about to chat about may be ones that people often disagree with. Though, to look at the nature of what it is we do as hypnotists, there's one specific story that really sets the stage for everything I'm about to talk about here. A guy comes into my office a number of years ago, and his goal is to quit smoking. And as we go through the beginnings of the session, where now he has already filled out his office forms, we're having the process of what's called the intake, where we're having a conversation as to what he would like to work on and why he's there that day specifically to quit smoking. And then here comes the classic hypnosis pre-talk. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's not going to happen. And it's at this point, suddenly the mood in the room completely changes as he points his finger at me and he says, "Yeah, but you're just going to persuade me today." And I held up his office forms that he had already completed. I held up all the notes I had been taking, and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to make you do something that you normally would not do. And that's why you're here, right? Normally you wouldn't quit smoking." And you could see the gears already start to turn in his mind. And then I held up all the notes and said, "And I'm going to do it using your words. I'm going to say almost everything you've already said to me back to you, but this time I'm going to do it in a way so it actually sticks." Make sense? And he sits back and he goes, "That makes a whole lot more sense than anything I've ever been thought before around this issue." Welcome, everybody. I'm Jason Lynette. For those of you that have been here for a while now, you know the tour of corners of bedrooms that I've been on as we've been moving from Virginia down to Florida. This should be, air quotes, should be the very last time I'm filming in this corner. Downstairs, the walls are done. We're building out a whole home production studio. And that's going to be happening throughout the rest of this week. The carpet's going in, furniture arrives, and all will be good from there. So the theme today is this idea of, can you make people do things with hypnosis? Now, let's build a bit of a foundation before I talk about some of these ideas. By the way, if you can hear me all right, just put the wrong emoji as a comment down below. That just gives me way too much joy. Pick the wrong emoji, drop it down below. That'll just let me know that you can hear me. But the whole theme of this is that, first of all, let's set a bit of a foundation here. I work from the premise that I work with those people who reach out to me and ask for my help. There we go. By working with those people who are specifically asking for my help, that's that group of people that are ready and willing to create that change. So this is not necessarily the dialogue of ambush hypnosis going after people who are not reaching out to us. Let's work with those people who actually want to produce these changes, and yet up until now have not been able to do so. So the whole structure of this, what is that, a dump truck? Thank you for the poop emoji. The whole structure of this is to give you some strategies that you can start to use right away to inspire greater action within your clients. Some of you have already heard this lecture before, and this is a segment, by the way, out of the class Work Smart Hypnosis Live. This is our real-time online professional training and certification event. And the nature of this begins with the foundation that all hypnotic language patterns come back to the same formula: cause and effect relationships. So the reality is, you're going to find a greater level of success by bringing your client into the process, by bringing their actions and what they're doing into the actual work, so that now, as you're out there doing this thing, you start to notice this result. There's something beautifully Pavlovian about this, where now, as we're bringing them into the action, the whole mindset shift simply becomes, it's not that we're just hypnotizing our client to produce a change. By inspiring action inside of what they're doing, the reality becomes is that now you're letting your client's actions become the hypnotic foundation of everything that's about to happen. Because again, now that you're doing this, here's what you're now feeling. Now that you're creating this result, here's what you're now creating. So the goal of all of this is, I've got 3 simple strategies I'm going to share with you here today. 3 simple things you can plug into your sessions. And before I show you what those 3 are, let me give you a bit of a preview here. It would be, the questions often, do I do these things before the session? Do I do them during the session? Do I do them after the session? And a little bit of a sidebar real quick. I hate the word follow-up. I hate the idea of reinforcement. This is just a personal choice in terms of language. Follow-up and reinforcement bring about the mindset that we're just going to do the same thing again. Instead, let's just simply use different words. If it's follow-on sessions, their subsequent sessions, or their not reinforcement, their sessions where we're going to meet to elevate and sharpen the skills that you've already achieved. So look at it from that perspective that now we're using their actions to become a big part of the process. So here we go. Let's talk about some methods you can plug into use right away to make your sessions even more effective. Whether it happens before, during, or after, that's what we call compounding. So the first strategy, inspire action with a double bind. And think about all the different behaviors or even issues that our clients would often come to us for and want to address. Here's the person with a fear of driving on highways, and at some point, he's going to have to get in the car and drive on the highway. Here's the person with the fear of dogs, and eventually there's going to come the moment where they're near a dog and notice something different now. Here's the person who wants to quit smoking, and them taking action is part of the process. Weight loss, exercise, this is part of everything. Even if it's the guy who I worked with years ago, this was a medical referral, mind you, that had survived a stroke about 4 or 5 years ago. And the story was, even still, he was terrified of walking on his own without the walker, without the cane, out of fear he may fall down again. That was the event where he had the stroke and fell down, and the injuries from the fall were sadly just as bad as the actual stroke. Recovered from the stroke, incredible results from physical therapy, but the fear, so still, there had to be the moment, the testing phase, of getting out there and now doing the steps, doing the walk without the devices. So inspire action with a double bind. Because, in terms of this action, it really doesn't matter whether you do it sometime later today or perhaps first thing in the morning. Either way, as soon as you're walking without that walker, either call me or have your family member call me and let me know exactly how well it went. Sound good? And emotion is such a huge component of hypnotic work here. Because I'm not saying, well, let me know how it goes. Maybe set it aside and just see what happens. Yeah, how's that going to go? Instead, inspire action and let the emotion of how you give the suggestion also convey just this confidence, this excitement, just this awareness that we got this. This is going to be easy. Because I'll tell you, the people who I've worked with over the years who crumple up the rest of those cigarettes and just throw that garbage out, those are the ones who are in front of me next time, just so excited as to how well it's gone. And it's not my position to tell you exactly what to do, but some of you are smirking at that. It's not my position to tell you what to do, but, let me know exactly where you make that decision this weekend, whether it's as soon as you get home today, where you find them in the house and throw them out, or if it's something you do right before bedtime, in that time where you used to go out and smoke after the kids were in bed. Whatever time you do that, even better, bring along your phone and shoot a video and post it online and announce to the world, this is what I'm doing. So the double bind, for those of you that this may be new to, is the strategy of basically creating a bit of a false decision point as to option A or option B, leaving out, obviously, option C, which is none of the above. But by using our tonality, by using hypnotic suggestion, whether you have that food tonight or first thing in the morning, let me know exactly how well it goes. Always look for a way you can also suggest an emotion. Let me know just how excited you are once you've actually done that. So inspire action with a double bind. Tell a story that embeds the action. This is inspired right now because also in this Work Smart Hypnosis public community, there's a whole thread about someone who's working with a client who was saying, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. I barely eat anything. And I dropped in a comment with a softener in front of it, which was that sometimes, but not always, people lie to themselves enough that it sounds true when they repeat it to you. There's a whole dialogue that's happening in that thread right now. Go find it. We'll try to link it below. Or someone else, if you're watching, go find that and just share that down below. But there's a whole dialogue around the science of weight loss. And, there's an amazing chapter, by the way, the opening of the book, Eat, Stop, Eat by Brad Pilon. An amazing chapter that just breaks down all nutritional science and explains how everything else is dressing around the one core thing. This isn't a presentation around that, But there was commentary from someone talking about how, well, I didn't realize how much I was actually eating. That when I actually tracked the calories, here's what I discovered. So the mind sometimes butts up against advice. If I told people what I do as somebody who purposefully lost a ton of weight over the years and is now purposefully going through phases of putting it on and taking it off in terms of strength training, that can sometimes be the video game. And here's what you can do from that. If I give that advice, it hits the mind at a bit of a barrier sometimes. But then again, here's the guy who came into my office and he pointed his finger at me. There's a theme here today. He pointed his finger and he said, "You're not going to make me count calories." But when I walked by him in the lobby, he was playing on his phone, and some of you know this reference. He had beaten every level of Angry Birds to the point he had 3 stars in every level, and something clicked to go, we got to make this a video game. Here's my guy who was a tow truck driver, and they get paid based on the number of calls that they respond to. He said, "I'm so busy, I only have time for the drive-through," which, step one, I gave him a challenge. Next time you're there, set a stopwatch. Turns out the drive-through wasn't fast at all. What he discovered, though, was that just for a week, he tracked everything that he ate. And as he put it, he goes, "I used to go through the drive-through, and that meal was like 1,200 calories. And at home, if I'm eating food that I recognize and I'm tracking it, I've just now trained myself that it's kind of physically hard to overeat." He goes, "I'm looking at this meal, which was this large tuna steak, a giant baked potato. Turns out carbs weren't the devil. A garbage pile of vegetables." He's the guy I stole that story from. A garbage pile of vegetables. He goes, "I can have this plate of food, which might be more than physically a pound of weight of food. And it's no more than 550 calories. That if I prep it myself and I can label everything on that plate, it's physically hard to overeat." And as he goes, just occasionally he'll pop up with like the MyFitnessPal app and, track it just to kind of refresh his mind so that, oh, that's what that serving size looks like. So these are some of those stories that I'll embed inside of just the conversations on the phone or even interaction with a client, where here's the thing. Again, I'm not the one telling you, go off and do this. Instead, it's just the story plants the seed of inspiration. I posted this in that other thread. The guy who goes, "I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. I mean, here's what I have for breakfast." And I'm in my head going, that's what I have for breakfast. He goes, "And this is what I do for lunch." And I'm like, that's what I do for lunch. And he goes, "And then here's how I exercise." And I'm like in my head going, dude, are you following me? "And here's what I do for dinner." And I mean, I have the occasional drink, but clear liquor doesn't have calories, so it's not the gin and tonic. And then in the evenings, I'm like, wait, hang on. Made him just do a Google search, measured out, sort of roughly what the size of his drink was. His eyes went so wide when he saw that his, not gin and tonic, but gin and tonic was like 400 or 500 calories a glass. The tonic water is basically a Sprite, if not a little bit more sugar. Ignorance. He didn't know what he didn't know. The eyes went wide, and as he put it, he goes, "I think I could just have seltzer." For what it's worth, this is the guy who just liked the ritual of making the drink. It wasn't even the benefit of the drink, if we want to call it a benefit. He swapped it out for doing decaf coffee in like a French press. That he goes, "It was kind of my cap to the evening." His feedback was, "Jason helped me to lose 40 pounds. The bitch slap from Google helped me to get there even faster." So this is in response to that other thread, that these are some of those stories that I may layer into the work, which again, I'm not the one telling you to go off and do this. Yet by hearing these stories, also those of you in my influence world are recognizing these stories are embedding, hey, look, this stuff just works. This is the place where this change happens. These stories are inspirational, but also embed inside of it specific actions. And without having to tell my clients to count calories, without having to tell my clients to throw out their cigarettes, they're doing it. Because this is just the place that this happens. One more point here, and just as a reference once again, we got more of this inside of Work Smart Hypnosis Live. The next event, by the way, is both me and Richard Nongard. So for me, my more influential as well as hypnotic phenomenon flavor of doing hypnosis, your client's issue is kinesthetic. So you've got to do a process of hypnosis where they can feel things occurring. Otherwise, you're just kind of on that surface structure of thought. So it's not just about giving you a few more hypnotic stunts, though you're going to learn some really cool hypnotic stunts. It's more importantly, how do we use those hypnotic phenomenon moments to actually inspire change? I'd reference too, if you've got questions about the class, go to that link, and then on that page, there's a full video at the top of the page that details exactly how this works online, how we've been seeing students launching their careers even faster with the online platform and building their confidence even sooner. That's at WorkSmartHypnosisLive.com. I did promise you 3 strategies, so here we go. Shift a belief system to reframe the action. So here's the thought on this. Look at the entire universe of the change. And this is a dialogue I've been getting into more recently about psychodynamics. Thoughts, where's my camera? Thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is a tripod, and as soon as you knock out one leg of that tripod of thoughts, feelings, and actions, the rest of the issue has to domino from there. So with someone recently, as an example, he had a fear of public speaking, consciously was prepared, was stellar at what he did. But as soon as we went in, thoughts, feelings, and actions, and changed the nature of the feeling, the sequence, the programming, the software of the fear could not run the same way. So while we're on the theme of weight loss clients, here's the person who goes, and of course, I'm just not going to eat vegetables anymore because I'm an adult now. And when I was a kid, my parents were horrible cooks and they would burn the hell out of vegetables and then make me eat them. And now that I'm an adult, I'm going to do what I want. And as we like to say, oh, that's what we're working with. Some of you have heard me use this catchphrase that I don't want to argue with the conscious mind anymore. It's kind of the side benefit of being the hypnotist. Close your eyes. Let's work on this. So this is where all we had to do was change the belief system that the fact that she had to eat vegetables was something linked to her parents. To which I've got a story of this 12-year-old girl who was a picky eater, and the work that we did and her discovery and the fact that this kid made fun of me. I gave a disclaimer to this kid at 12 years old that, let me just warn you ahead of time. And this is not even really a warning. It's just a reality. Even as someone who's going to get over this issue, there's still going to be foods that you don't like. And that's okay. I'm a rather adventurous eater, but I just don't like mushrooms. You know, it's not like I'm going to run from the room screaming because they're there. Just don't care for them. You know, if they're in the meal and I've asked no mushrooms and it comes out, I'm not going to freak out and send it back. I can pick them out. My wife likes them. So it's okay. But again, you're allowed to have foods you don't like. This kid goes to a buffet with her mom the next day. And she had like a little notepad and like buffet. Mom's great about this. She's like, now you don't have to do anything you don't want. And this restaurant is used to throwing out food. Or your brothers will eat it, or I've talked to the manager, they'll let us take it home, and either the dogs will have it or someone in the family will. Lovely. And she's sitting there with like a little notepad. Like the image in my mind was she looked just like the girl who was the kid in the movie Harriet the Spy. And she's got this notepad. She comes in the second appointment, and she's all smug, 12-year-old girl. I'm better at this than you are. I tried mushrooms, and I like them. And just the place to embed this story, she's giving me sass, the places to embed the story inside of it, where again, now it's her choice what she's eating. Now it's her choice what actions she's actually taking. So think about that again, is that sometimes it's not the entire system of the issue. There might just be one belief system inside of that, and that's what needs to be addressed. So there you go. A number of strategies here in terms of taking actions, and realize there's some cleverness to the question of, can we make people do things? The reason our clients are reaching out to us is because there's things that they normally don't do and they would like to do. They normally don't drive on the highway and feel confident. They normally don't get up there and do the public speaking and feel good. They normally don't regularly hit the gym. So these are some of those principles as to why when we do the Work Smart Hypnosis live training event, it's a certification with ICBCH, there's people there who are brand new to all of this. And as I'm seeing from some of the comments here too, there are people who already have significant training, and yet they're seeing where there's some of the gaps to really get that consistent feedback from their clients. So I'd point over again, head to the WorkSmartHypnosisLive.com website, watch that video. That will explain everything. I got a couple of minutes here before I wrap this up. We are doing a training that's already in motion in a couple of hours here. But if anyone has any questions on anything I've talked about so far, feel free to drop that down below. I can hang out for an extra 3 or 4 minutes here. We've got a good crowd watching us right now, too. And by the way, you're getting a preview of some of the new toys that we're going to be putting in the room downstairs. Camera 1, camera 2, and I'm so excited I have to show this off. We got confetti. And we also help people make it rain. That is stupid, but we're going to have fun with that. Well, I tell you what, I'm hearing some noise downstairs that the kids need something. So, got any questions, drop them down below. Either way, thanks for watching. If you can join us at Work Smart Hypnosis Live as of now, time of this video, we got 7 spots left. I don't like scarcity marking, but we also do limit the size of the event. That way, you know, you've got hands-on attention, plenty of people to practice, and the opportunity to further grow your skills. Either way, thanks for watching. See you all soon.